learn or teach online, because some of them had to do their teaching practices online. They were learning online at the university. So they had all sorts of experiences, and it was published in the magazine that I edit, Humanizing Language Teaching. Please read it and enjoy and contribute to the magazine. The voices were published in the October 2000 issue and in the August 2020. And I made a mental note. It was so interesting that I made a mental note to capture similar feelings of students coming back into face-to-face classrooms. So first week of October, I ran a survey among 181 students, asking them 8 different questions regarding their experience. And so I roughly got 1,400 replies because some questions were not answered. So it was a very interesting read, but it wasn't any monkey survey or any kind of thing. It was open questions, which I had to read. Manually.
Wow.
And process. Well, I'm an editor, so I'm used to reading, and I'm pretty good at synthesizing. So it's not that I took one question and processed what people said, replying to that one question, but I kind of read through everything and made notes under different categories like the teacher, the student, the learning environment, the future of online teaching and online learning. So that was very interesting, very thought-provoking experience, and I'm extremely grateful to my students. There is a model that Duncan Ford proposed about how we can develop as teachers. It's concentric circles, and in this middle is me. So how I can learn through self-reflection. The second one is how can I learn from my students? The next one is how can I learn from my peers? How can I learn from the school? And how can I learn from other people in the profession? So, for example, from a maths teacher. And when I looked at this diagram, which I really liked, I like sort of systematic representations of sort of procedures. I always thought that my weakest point was learning from students. So I can tell you now that the learning curve was like that. It was so steep. That was so much I learned from what the students said. But also, I had the opportunity to reflect with them. I could also talk to them about the experience. Funnily enough, they know that I went to a conference and that we don't have classes this week. And what are you talking about? Oh, about your survey. So what have you found? So they were so interested in finding out what I noticed. So this is my talk.
Wonderful. And if I ask you to summarize in one word, I know this is difficult, but if I ask you to summarize in one word what you found, what word would that be?
The key answer to all the areas is humanize. And I edit Humanizing Language Teaching magazine, and humanism in teaching is very close to my heart. But I think this is the answer, because we're not talking here about how to teach the present perfect in a better way or how to do reading comprehension. We're talking how to make the experience of learning and teaching as humanistic as possible. And there are different definitions of humanism, but one of them is to make things people-friendly or less painful that they need to be. It's a very interesting definition. I don't want to say that there is pain involved in teaching, although some people say no pain, no gain, but it's to not make it as complicated, as difficult as it sometimes is, to make it easier, to make it people-friendly, to take on board both the teacher and the student. And that's the conclusion.
And do you think that after the pandemic, we've started humanizing our lessons less and less because of all of this technology involved?
It's a very good question. I think that we may have forgotten a few things. I mean, one of the questions that that I asked was about the classroom experience. And one student said, the teacher, I only saw the head of the teacher. I was missing the body. I was missing the energetic person. And here is something that I started looking at. How do we use our bodies in the classroom, or how we have forgotten to use our bodies? I noticed that I sit down far too much. because I got so much used to sitting and looking at the screen. And sometimes I do hybrid teaching. So I have some of the students online because they think they might have COVID, and then some students in class. So I have to be able to sort of handle the technology. But whenever I can, I try to stand up and I try to move around and work with my body. The other thing I noticed, some teachers sit as if they were sitting in their living rooms, so slouching. And, the body language is, some say 58%.
Makes me think about my
58% of communication. So important. Another thing is voice. We had to work a lot with voice, and fine. Perhaps some of us developed very good, almost radio voices teaching online. But what happened is when the students got into the class, I noticed they slur terribly because they always we could always understand them because they were speaking to the mic. But when they are in a bigger classroom, they really don't remember how to project their voices. So there are little things as well as much bigger things like differentiation of teaching, not learner differences, different abilities, different levels taking on board these learner differences, but differentiation, making it more optional. You can do this, you can do this, we can negotiate. Because it transpired how different the learner, yet again transpired, the learner differences. One is happy to be in class, one is happy to be online, some hate having to go back into the classroom, etc., etc. So this is another important area, I think.
So going back to the magazine that you've mentioned, Humanizing Language Teaching.
HLT Mag CO UK.
Oh, lovely. Can you tell us a few things more about it?
Okay, it was started in 1999. The founding father was Mario Rinvolucri, sponsored by Pilgrims, and lots of Pilgrims trainers, Pilgrims friends, published in HLT. Friends, I mean not only friends, but also like-minded people who believe in humanizing language teaching. So we have had, over the years, every year we have 6 issues, and all the issues are available online, and you can read the archive for free, access all the articles. Teachers are invited to publish in HLT. I have been harvesting articles here at this conference, left, right, and center. Just a few minutes ago, I overheard a conversation between 2 teachers, and one of the teachers was saying what kind of activities he has been doing with fun activities with online apps. And I said, oh, this is a great article for HLT. I'm sorry I'm interrupting you, but can you give me your email address and I'll contact you and you can write it up. So I'm trying to harvest as many articles as possible and invite many teachers to read and publish in HLT.
So if anyone watching from home would like to contribute, how can they find it?
Well, the easiest way is go onto HLT Mag CO UK. In the editorial, you find at the bottom of every editorial my email address, hania.kryszewska@pilgrimsteachertraining.eu. But or you just Google me and my name will pop up in search engines.
Wonderful. And I have got one last question for you. Have you got any future projects coming up?
My future projects, the immediate one is to write up my talk for HLT Mag. Next issues of HLT Mag. Well, I would like to write about a resource book about using mediation in the classroom, because mediation is something that is very close to my heart. The mediation as defined by Common European Framework of Reference. I approached a few publishers, but they said that at that point they were not accepting any proposals. It was COVID time. Publishers didn't know which way things were going to go, so I'm not surprised that they were not interested. I also had some family issues, so I left it waiting on the shelf, and I think I might now think about writing that book. Mm-hmm.
I think that I've spoken to a lot of people at ITEFL, and with all of these ideas that they have, they've all said that, well, we have got so many ideas, so after ITEFL, it's a rebirth. So we are ready to start again, start new ideas again.
I think that this is a very good word, rebirth. I have to say that being at this conference feels like, yes, life is back to normal. the lockdown is over and we're no longer wearing masks. And it seems that life is normal, but coming to ITEFL is back to normal. That's how it feels.
Wonderful. So thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. Good luck with your presentation.
Thank you.
And
It's a bit later.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much for joining us as well. And we hope to see you at another live.
Thank you.